What month is it?
September.
And that means?
It's caramel cake.
Caramel cake. We're going to make our caramel cake recipe. And this has 3 different recipes for you to follow. So it might be a lot, but I'm going to try and break it down for you and make it as simple as possible.
Because Peach Betty is the best baker I know.
We're going to start first with our cake. So first ingredients for the cake are room temperature butter, and then we're going to add to that our
sugar. Brown sugar, normal white sugar.
Alright, and we're going to cream this until the butter and sugar become light and fluffy. It's going to be kind of like a lemon yellow color. Ready, set?
Go.
Go! It's almost done! 3, 2, 1, Alright.
Here's something for you.
Looking fluffy.
Yum.
Go ahead and scrape everything off of the paddle and the sides of the bowl. Here we actually have some farm-raised eggs. So you notice that they're kind of different colors. When you have farm fresh eggs, you want to make sure that you crack them separately into a bowl to make sure that they are good.
I'm also a big expert at cracking eggs.
You have gotten very good at cracking eggs. And pull it apart. Yeah! 1, 2. Dump in your 3rd egg. And we're going to mix these until you can't tell the difference between egg and butter. Keep it on low, and then finish on high. Alright, we're going to scrape down. Before we do our last little mix with our eggs, we're going to...
Vanilla!
Yes, this is the very end of my vanilla bean paste, so I have to buy more. But in it goes.
Boopa.
Goodbye. And then just mix this in. Give it one more scrape, and we're going to add all of our dry ingredients.
Which is flour, baking soda, and
Baking powder also,
baking powder
and salt.
and salt.
Now, when you're making a cake, it is very important that everything is at room temperature because we want our butter to be nice and smooth. If we add cold stuff to it, it's going to become chunky, and you're going to have big air pockets in there. So, if you forget, you can stick your milk in the microwave for a minute. Before you add your dry, make sure you take a whisk or a sieve and mix them all together. Slowly. Okay. We're going to do this in 2 parts. Half flour, half milk. Mix, and then the rest of it, and mix. Singing is optional. That I have just lined with parchment on the bottom. I used a pencil to trace the outside of the pan. That way I know it's the right size. So now we're just going to divide this batter evenly between the 2 pans. Just the best that you can.
It doesn't have to be as perfect as Peach Betty.
Just try your best.
Yeah. Try your best.
Scrape the bowl clean. So now the last thing that I do is I make sure that they are spread evenly, and I kind of push more out to the sides and get it out from just in the middle. I think this one's got a little bit more than this one, so we'll just... My oven is nice and hot. It is preheated to 350. These are going to go in for about 30 to 45 minutes. Here we go.
Bye-bye, you can fly.
Start with granulated sugar and cover it completely in 2 tablespoons of water. Once it starts to bubble, don't touch it. You can only look at it until it turns golden brown. As soon as it's a deep amber color, take it off of the heat and add your room temperature cream. Once you have all the cream added, you can put your butter in, let it melt completely, and you should have a nice smooth caramel sauce. Now stick it in the fridge and chill for at least an hour. Check out this golden brown beautiful cake. While your cake is cooling in the fridge, start making your buttercream. We have room temperature butter, powdered sugar, vanilla bean paste, and some salt. Don't forget that caramel sauce that you just made. Whip it all together until it's nice and smooth.
Howdy, partners. Peach Buddy's back, and the cake is ready.
So now that we have our caramel made, our buttercream made, and our cakes have completely chilled in the fridge, we're ready to get assembled. Excuse me, Woody. Alright, first we have to release our cake from our pans. So you just take a knife and run it around the edges. And then pop it out.
The one I ripped off your paper.
Sure. Next. Okay. Ta-da!
I'm gonna rip the paper off.
Perfect. We're going to use this turntable here to help slice the layers of our cake. I like to have multiple thin layers instead of fat layers. So, you want to make sure you have a serrated knife. Careful. These cakes don't have too big of a dome, so we don't have to cut off and waste much cake. But you just start slicing a little bit at a time. And voila! Ooh. Now I'm just going to make a mark on either side. So there's one layer. And then the other layer. So now I can just start slicing. Alright, one. There we
In
go.
the videos, this is spoiler alert. Do
We
not
have 3 layers.
spin.
Watch your fingers.
Can I eat it?
You can eat some. Hang on a moment.
None of the bigger half.
You're going to have a quarter here.
Oh, my phone. Ow.
Alright, our layers are all cut. Clean up your crummy mess and pick the plate that you want to decorate this on. That's where it's going to stay forever. I have chosen my big blue plate, and I have a soggy napkin on the bottom so it doesn't move around on my turntable. First thing we're going to do is grab our little tiny offset, it's my favorite tool, and that yummy buttercream. We need to make sure that our cake isn't going to move around, so take a little bit of that buttercream and put it down in the middle of the plate. Then I pick one of the bottoms and make sure it's nice and centered. Now to make sure that everybody has the same amount of buttercream in between their layers, use an ice cream scooper and drop it right on there. Now we're just going to smooth it out all the way to the edges and even overhang. This will help us finish to frost the cake. This way we don't have any empty cracks. First layer, don't forget that caramel sauce. Take a little bit and drizzle it around. And now let's do the next layer. Center it up. Scoop and repeat until you're all done. Alright, final layer. I want you to make sure that you saved one of the bottoms of the cake to be the top of it, because that is the flattest piece that you have. Now we need to do our crumb coat, because this is a very crummy cake and a very sticky buttercream. So this is just going to make sure that everything sticks and is nice and clean for a final frosting. Put a little bit on top, gently move it around. So now I just wiggle down the sides, and all of that extra overhang that we had earlier will help to fill in the cracks. It's a lot like caulk. You can get a little bit more if needed. Cover up every little bit. A baker's best friend is a bench scraper. This is going to just make sure that we don't have any extra buttercream and that everybody is covered in the same amount. Now that I've cleaned up the edges, take your spatula flat and pull it towards you. Clean it off. Pull it towards you and clean it off. this will give you a nice, clean, flat top. Looks like we need to scoot over just a little. Alright, this guy needs to chill for at least half an hour, and then we're ready to cover it with our final frosting and drizzle our caramel over top of it. Alright, our cake is nice and cold, and that buttercream has created a nice little skin, so all the crumbs are going to stick. I'm going to take a big dollop and put it on top.
Like an explosion.
Yeah, and
Or a mountain.
we're going to flatten it and let it overhang.
Why do you have what one
Do I have white?
here?
Oh, maybe I got some caramel on my face. Okay, just leave it. I'm fine with it. It's the end of the day. It's the end of cake decorating. Take a nice thick amount of buttercream on your spatula and press it against the sides and wiggle it down. Do that all the way around the cake. Make it a little bit thicker than what you would like the finished product to be, because then we're going to smooth it all out. Make sure you take it all the way to the bottom. Almost there, last piece. Now, actually, this one I don't smooth out, so we don't need this right now. But if you did, you would just use this to make it nice and smooth. This one we leave rough. So take the edge of your spatula and just go back and forth. I go up and down all the way around. Nice. And then I'm just going to smooth off the top a little bit so our caramel looks nice on top. Now we have the remainder of our caramel. I'm going to pour that on top. And we're going to slowly let it go down the side. Definitely do not want to do this if your caramel is hot. Slowly working it. Give it a little love. There we go. Sullivan, I'm all done.
Okay, Woo! Woo! It looks like a caramel volcano.
Caramel volcano. Perfect. Just so we don't have to murder the whole cake here, we've got our cake scraps. We've got buttercream for you. Hey, cheers.
Cheers.
That's it, we're all done. I guess we'll see you next month.
Have a great happy Halloween.